Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
I'd love to know what you think. Every comment helps me make the next story better. Subscribe to stay tuned. There's a specific kind of clarity that comes from being publicly humiliated by the person who promised to love you. That happened to me 4 weeks ago on what was supposed to be a casual Friday night at home. My wife Amanda had been excited all week about having her friends over. Girls' night, she called it. I was planning to make myself scarce, maybe catch up with my brother Wesley, or hit the gym. But around 6 that evening, Amanda caught me heading toward the door. "Actually, would you mind staying?" she asked, smiling in that way that meant she'd already decided I would. "The girls want to do something fun, and you're part of it." I hesitated. Amanda's friend group had always rubbed me the wrong way. Brielle, the ringleader, was on her second divorce and seemed to view all men as the enemy. Harper was a serial dater who treated relationships like disposable commodities. Quinn was the youngest, engaged but constantly complaining about her fiancé. Together, they formed this toxic echo chamber that brought out the worst in my wife. But I'd been married 6 years. 6 years of being the understanding husband, the good sport, the guy who went along to keep the peace. So I agreed. They arrived at 7 with wine and appetizers, all air kisses and compliments about our house in Washington Park. We'd bought it 3 years ago, though my inheritance had paid most of the down payment. Amanda loved telling people we decorated it, even though I'd mainly just agreed with whatever she wanted. At 7:30, Brielle cleared her throat dramatically. "So, we have a special event planned tonight. Cameron, you're the guest of honor." I felt my stomach drop. Guest of honor for what? A roast? Harper squealed. Like the Comedy Central ones. "Amanda told us you're a good sport, so we thought it would be hilarious." I looked at Amanda, who was beaming like this was the best idea she'd ever heard. "You'll love it," she said. "It's all in good fun." Every instinct told me this was a bad idea, but there were 4 of them looking at me expectantly, and I'd spent years being the guy who could take a joke. So I smiled and settled back on the couch. "Great," Brielle said. "Let's get started." It began innocently enough. Light jabs about how I organized the garage, my predictable coffee order, my collection of vintage baseball cards. The room laughed, and I laughed along, playing my part. But about 15 minutes in, something shifted. "Cameron's idea of living dangerously is using regular milk instead of almond milk," Brielle said, and the room erupted. Amanda was laughing so hard she had tears in her eyes. Harper leaned forward. "Seriously though, Amanda, how do you deal with someone so boring? My ex was adventurous, but Cameron makes him look like James Bond." More laughter. I kept my smile fixed, but it was getting harder. Quinn jumped in, encouraged by the others. "How does it feel knowing you're the backup plan that became permanent? Like, Amanda could have had anyone." The jokes kept coming. Comments about my career ambitions, or lack thereof. Implications about my masculinity. Thinly veiled references to our intimate life that made me want to crawl out of my skin. And through it all, Amanda laughed. She laughed the hardest at the cruelest jokes. 45 minutes in, Brielle delivered what she clearly thought was her masterpiece. "Amanda tells us you're adequate in bed. And honestly, that's the most enthusiastic she's ever been about you." The room exploded with laughter. Amanda was doubled over, holding her stomach. She made eye contact with me across the coffee table, saw my face, and kept laughing. Something inside me went very quiet and very calm. They continued for another 15 minutes. I counted. When they finally seemed to be winding down after a full hour, I stood up slowly. The laughter died as everyone watched me walk to the coffee table where I'd left my phone. I picked it up and held it where everyone could see. "Thanks for the material," I said, my voice steady. "My lawyer will love this recording." The room went silent. Confused glances. Nervous laughs. I looked directly at Amanda. "And your friends can help you find a new place, since they're so good at advice." Complete silence. Harper was the first to find her voice. "Wait, were you actually recording?" "Every single word," I said. "Timestamped too." Brielle stood up, suddenly defensive. "You can't just record people without permission. That's illegal." "Colorado is a one-party consent state," I replied calmly. "I'm the one party. You all consented by speaking. It's completely legal." Amanda's face had gone pale. "Cameron, what are you doing? You're embarrassing me." That almost made me laugh. "I'm embarrassing you? That's interesting." The friends started talking over each other. "It was just jokes. You're being too sensitive." "This is so typical." I held up my hand. I don't care what you think. But Amanda, you need to hear this clearly. You have until tomorrow night to decide if you want to apologize or pack your things. I walked upstairs to our bedroom and locked the door behind me. I could hear muffled arguing below, friends reassuring Amanda that I was overreacting, that I'd come around, that they'd done nothing wrong. Their voices eventually faded as they left. Around 11, Amanda tried the bedroom door. Cameron, please. We need to talk about this. Tomorrow, I said. After you've had time to think about what happened tonight. I heard her walk away. I sat on the edge of the bed and realized my hands weren't shaking. I wasn't angry or hurt or confused. I just felt clear. Clearer than I'd felt in years. The next morning, I emerged from the bedroom at 9. Amanda was waiting with coffee, trying to smooth things over like she always did after her friends visited and made me feel small. I know you're upset, she started, but it wasn't that bad. They were just joking around. That's what roasts are. You laughed while your friends spent an hour tearing me apart, I said. That's the whole point of a roast. Everyone knows it's not serious. Then why did every joke feel like something you actually believed? She set down her coffee cup too hard. You're really going to blow this out of proportion? Over some jokes? By 10:30, we were facing each other across the kitchen island, and I laid it out clearly. Here's what needs to happen. You apologize, genuinely. You tell your friends they crossed a line, and we establish real boundaries about respect. You want me to apologize? Her voice rose. They're going to think I'm whipped. I want you to choose your marriage over your friends' opinions. This is ridiculous. Amanda slammed her hand on the counter. You're acting like I cheated on you or something. They're my friends. And I'm your husband. Or I was. Her eyes widened. What does that mean? It means you have until 6 tonight to decide what matters more to you. I left the house and drove to Washington Park, found a bench near Smith Lake, and just sat. How many times had this happened before? Not a roast, but the dynamic. The little jokes at my expense. The times she sided with her friends over me. The years I'd spent making myself smaller so she could feel bigger. I pulled out my phone and called Wesley. Hey, little brother, he answered. What's up? I need a lawyer. There was a pause. What happened? I told him everything. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. Jesus, Cameron. She let them do that for an hour? While laughing, I confirmed. I have the whole thing recorded. That recording might be useful, he said carefully. How are you feeling? Clear. For the first time in years, actually clear. What do you need from me? Lawyer recommendations. Just in case. I can handle it personally, Wesley said. Cameron, I'm sorry. You deserve better than this. At 6 o'clock, I walked back into the house. Amanda was sitting on the couch, phone in hand. I could tell from her expression she'd been texting her friends all day instead of reflecting. She stood up. I've been thinking, and I think you need to apologize to my friends. I blinked. Excuse me? You ruined our night. You made a huge scene. They feel attacked. They feel attacked? Yes. Her voice was rising. And honestly, if you can't take a joke, maybe we need to rethink things. Something clicked into place. I agree. Start packing. Her face changed as she realized I wasn't backing down. You can't be serious. Where am I supposed to go? Your friends are so supportive. I'm sure one of them will help. She started crying, but still didn't apologize. I actually helped her pack, staying calm while she oscillated between tears and anger. You're really doing this? She asked as she dragged her suitcase toward the door. Over a stupid game? I'm doing this because you chose to humiliate me and then defended it. She left around 8:30, headed for Brielle's loft downtown. I watched her car pull away, then closed the door and stood in the sudden silence of my house. For the first time in years, I felt peace. That first night alone, I didn't sleep much. I lay in bed replaying the evening, but not in the way Amanda probably thought I would. I wasn't second-guessing myself. I was remembering. I remembered our third date, when Amanda made a joke about my shirt in front of the waiter. Small thing. I'd laughed it off. I remembered our first Thanksgiving together, when she told her family I was adequately employed. Everyone had chuckled. I'd smiled through it. I remembered the promotion I didn't get 2 years ago. Instead of comfort, Amanda had said, well, maybe if you were more assertive at work. Her friends had nodded in agreement. How many moments like that had there been? How many times had I swallowed the small cuts, told myself I was being too sensitive, reminded myself that relationships required compromise? The roast hadn't been the beginning. It had been the culmination. Around 2 in the morning, my phone buzzed. Amanda, from Brielle's place. Are you awake? I stared at the message for a full minute before responding. Yes. I can't sleep. This feels wrong. What feels wrong? Us being apart like this. Over something so stupid. I sat up in bed. Amanda, do you actually think it was stupid? Or are you just saying that? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. I think you're hurt, and I get that. But I also think you're making this bigger than it needs to be. There it was. Even now, she was telling me my feelings were the problem. Good night, Amanda. I turned off my phone and finally slept. Sunday morning, I woke up without the knot of dread in my stomach I'd grown so used to. Amanda had sent texts overnight. I hope you've calmed down and are ready to talk like adults. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I drove to Stella's coffee house on Old South Pearl Street, a place I'd passed 100 times but never stopped. I needed to think somewhere that wasn't filled with memories of Amanda. I was reaching for an empty table when a woman's voice said, "Looks like we had the same idea." She was about 30, dark hair, wearing running clothes, and a slight smile. We both laughed and agreed to share the table. "I'm Rachel," she said. "Cameron, you here to escape something, or just enjoying the quiet?" Her directness surprised me. That obvious? I've been coming here every morning for 3 months since my breakup. I recognized the 1,000-yard stare. We ended up talking for an hour. She was an architect, had ended a long relationship because, as she put it, he wanted me to be someone I wasn't. Quieter, less opinionated, more agreeable. My wife wanted a prop, I found myself saying. Someone who'd go along with whatever she wanted. Rachel nodded like she understood completely. It's exhausting, pretending to be smaller than you are. When we exchanged numbers, she said, as fellow coffee refugees. Monday morning, I met Wesley at his office on California Street. He'd already reviewed the recording I'd sent him. "This is brutal," he said, shaking his head. "Any reasonable person would understand why you left. I need to know my options." He pulled out paperwork. Colorado requires a 90-day waiting period for divorce. You own the house. Both names on the deed, but I paid the down payment with family money. We'll need financial records. Start documenting everything. Bank statements, credit cards, all of it. As I left his office, my phone buzzed with texts from Amanda. The tone had shifted from conciliatory to angry. "You're being childish. Brielle says I should just let you cool off. How long are you going to punish me?" I responded once. "I'm not punishing you. I'm protecting myself." Tuesday morning, Rachel texted. "Coffee again. I promise not to steal your table this time." We met at Stella's, and the conversation went deeper. She asked what I was escaping from, and I gave her the general outline without specifics. "Let me guess," she said. "She told you that you were overreacting?" Word for word. They always do. My ex told me I was too sensitive when his friends made fun of my career. Like my feelings were the problem, not their behavior. I felt something I hadn't felt with Amanda in years. Understood. Wednesday, Amanda showed up at the house while I was there. She tried a different approach, seduction and nostalgia. "Remember when we were happy? We can get back to that." "Were we happy?" I asked. "Or was I just compliant?" Her face hardened. "Why are you being like this? I barely recognize you." "Maybe you never really knew me." She left angrier than she'd arrived. Thursday evening, Rachel and I had dinner at Mercantile in Union Station. Real first date territory. "I'm going to be direct," she said over appetizers. "I like you, but I need to know this isn't a rebound thing." "I appreciate that," I said. "Honestly, I don't know what this is yet, but I know I feel more myself around you than I have in years." "That's fair. Take your time figuring it out." She smiled. "But don't let her make you doubt yourself. Trust what you know is true." Walking through Union Station after dinner, the high ceilings and warm lights somehow felt symbolic. Like possibility. Friday, Quinn saw us at the restaurant and told Amanda. The angry texts came flooding in. "Are you seriously dating already?" I responded simply. "We're separated. You made your choice. I want to come home. We can fix this. You've had a week to apologize. You haven't." "I'm not apologizing for my friends being funny. Then we have nothing to discuss." The following week, I needed to burn off energy. I hit the gym near Washington Park, the one I'd stopped going to regularly because Amanda always had plans on my usual workout nights. I was on the rowing machine when someone called my name. Tom Brennan, A guy I'd known from my old job before Amanda convinced me to take this safer position at a different company. Cameron, man, it's been forever. How's married life? I must have made a face because his smile faded. That good, huh? We grabbed protein shakes after our workouts. I gave him the abbreviated version. Tom shook his head. Jesus, an hour? 63 minutes. I checked the recording. And your wife thought this was funny. She thought it was hilarious. Tom leaned back. You remember when I got divorced 5 years ago? I nodded. Everyone thought it was because Michelle cheated. It wasn't. It was because she made me feel small every single day. Little comments. Little jabs. Always in front of people. Always played off as jokes. He met my eyes. It took me 3 years of therapy to realize that was abuse. The word hit me like cold water. I don't know if I'd call it abuse. What would you call it then? Someone who's supposed to love you orchestrating your public humiliation? I didn't have an answer for that. Look, Tom said, I'm not telling you what to do. But I wasted 3 years trying to fix something that was broken from the start. Don't make my mistake. By Monday of the second week, the divorce papers were officially filed. Wesley handled everything professionally while also being my brother, which I needed more than I'd realized. That evening, Wesley invited me to his house for dinner. His wife Kelly had made lasagna, and their 2 kids were already in bed. How are you really holding up? Kelly asked, pouring wine. Better than I expected. Worse than I'd like. Wesley sat across from me. I've been thinking about something. Do you remember Mom and Dad fighting when we were kids? Not really. They always seemed solid. Exactly, Wesley said. They disagreed all the time. But Dad never once put Mom down. And Mom never once made Dad the butt of a joke for her friends. Kelly nodded. That's what partnership looks like. You can disagree, but you don't diminish. Amanda diminished you, Wesley continued. Probably for years. We all saw it, but you seemed happy, so we didn't say anything. That stung. Why didn't you say something? Because it wasn't our place. And honestly, we kept hoping you'd see it yourself. Wesley refilled my glass. I'm sorry we didn't speak up sooner. Would I have listened? Probably not, Kelly said gently. Nobody wants to hear that their marriage is broken. We usually have to figure it out ourselves. I stayed until almost midnight, and when I left, I felt less alone than I had in years. Amanda's friend group was showing cracks. Quinn was starting to feel guilty. Harper was encouraging Amanda to make him pay. Brielle remained convinced I was having some kind of crisis and would come crawling back. Amanda actually screenshot their group chat and sent it to me. I'm not sure what she thought it would accomplish. Tuesday, Rachel and I went to an art gallery in the Santa Fe Arts District. She told me more about her ex, how he'd wanted her to be less of herself. It's exhausting, she said, pretending to be smaller than you are. I forgot what it felt like not to, I admitted. That night, Rachel and I stayed at the gallery until closing. Standing in front of an abstract piece, she turned to me. Can I tell you something I learned in therapy? Of course. My ex used to say I was too much. Too opinionated, too ambitious, too intense. For 2 years, I tried to be less. I turned down promotions because they threatened him. I stopped sharing my opinions at dinner parties because he'd punish me with silence afterward. I made myself smaller and smaller until I barely recognized who I was. She looked at the painting. One day, my therapist asked me a question. She said, if someone told you your laugh was too loud, would you stop laughing? And I realized, that's exactly what I'd been doing. I'd stopped laughing because he didn't like how I sounded. When did you leave? About a month after that session. He was actually shocked. Kept saying he didn't understand what changed. She laughed, but it was sad. I'd spent 2 years changing everything about myself, and he genuinely didn't notice. Amanda noticed when I changed, I said. She just thought I was being difficult. Because she liked you compliant. The question is, who do you want to be? I thought about that for a long time. I want to be someone who doesn't apologize for taking up space. Good, Rachel said. Because I like you exactly as big as you are. Wednesday, my mother called. Amanda's mother had apparently reached out, saying I was being unreasonable. What really happened? Mom asked. I played her a clip from the recording. When it finished, there was silence. Oh, Cameron. I'm so sorry. No one should treat you like that. That validation from my mother meant more than I'd expected. Thursday, Amanda attempted a surprise visit. I'd changed the locks the day before. She banged on the door, yelling about how it was her house too. I opened the door calmly. Wesley sent you the paperwork. All legal. That's when she noticed Rachel's car parked down the street. Her face went red. Is she here? Are you kidding me? Who I spend time with isn't your business anymore. Friday, Amanda's sister Olivia called. Amanda's a mess. She says you've moved on already. I've moved forward. There's a difference. She thinks you're trying to hurt her. I'm trying to protect myself. Those are her friends. That was her choice. The recording. Olivia paused. Cameron, I had no idea it was that bad. She laughed. She thought it was hilarious. Olivia didn't know what to say to that. The next morning, I did something I'd been avoiding. I went through our wedding album. There we were, 6 years ago. Amanda looked beautiful. I looked happy. But as I turned the pages, I started noticing things I'd missed. In the photo with her friends, Amanda was laughing at something Brielle was saying. I was standing slightly apart, smile not quite reaching my eyes. At the reception, there was a photo of Amanda's father giving a toast. He'd made a joke about me, punching above my weight class, by marrying Amanda. Everyone had laughed. In the photo, I was laughing too. But my hand was gripping the champagne glass, so tight my knuckles were white. There were dozens of photos of Amanda with her friends, of Amanda dancing, of Amanda being the center of attention. There were maybe 5 photos of us together that looked genuine. I thought we were building a life. But looking at these photos, I realized I'd been a supporting character in Amanda's story all along. I closed the album and put it in a box in the garage. Not thrown away, but not displayed anymore either. That weekend, Rachel invited me hiking at Red Rocks. Standing at the amphitheater overlook at sunset, she turned to me. I need to know something. Are you over her? I'm over who I thought she was. I'm over who I became trying to make her happy. That's not quite the same as being over her. You're right. But I know I don't want that life anymore. And I know I want to see where this goes with you. That's enough for now. She kissed me, and it felt like the first honest thing that had happened in years. Monday of the 3rd week, Amanda sent a long emotional text about how she'd been thinking and maybe didn't appreciate what we had. She asked to meet face to face. I agreed. Tuesday at 2, Stella's Coffee House. She arrived looking tired, emotional. I miss you. I miss us. Do you miss me, or do you miss what I provided? That's not fair. You let your friends tear me apart for an hour. You laughed. When I asked for an apology, you said I should apologize to them. I was wrong about that. I should have defended you. Should have? You still haven't actually apologized. I'm apologizing now. Because you're facing consequences. Not because you understand why it was wrong. She started crying. What do you want from me? Nothing. Not anymore. Later that evening, Amanda left a voicemail. I almost deleted it without listening, but something made me press play. Her voice was different from the crying woman at the coffee shop. This was angry Amanda, probably drunk. You know what your problem is, Cameron? You were always too sensitive. My friends were right about you from the start. Brielle told me you were weak, but I defended you. I said you were just thoughtful. What a joke. You're not thoughtful. You're just a coward who can't handle the truth. And now you're running off with some random woman because you can't deal with reality. Well, fine. Go ahead. She'll figure out what you really are soon enough. Everyone always does. You're boring, Cameron. You've always been boring. And when she gets bored too, don't come crying back to me. The message ended. I sat there for a moment, then played it again. This time, I didn't feel hurt. I felt relieved. Because this was the truth she'd been hiding behind jokes and manipulation. This was what she really thought. When Rachel came over that evening, I played it for her. She listened, her face getting harder with each word. That's who she really is, I said when it ended. That's what she's always thought. Cameron, that's not about you. That's about her. I know, but I needed to hear it. I needed to stop wondering if I'd made a mistake. Rachel took my phone and deleted the voicemail. You didn't. And you never will. Thursday, Quinn reached out privately. I need to tell you something. The roast was Brielle's idea. She planned it for weeks. My blood went cold. Why are you telling me this? Because it's eating me alive. We went too far. And Amanda, she knew Brielle was planning it. She thought it would be funny. She told Brielle what subjects were fair game. I sat in my car, processing this. Amanda hadn't just allowed it. She'd orchestrated it. I'm so sorry, Quinn said. I screenshot the conversation and sent it to Wesley. When I told Rachel, her face darkened. That's actually worse than just going along with it. It confirms I made the right choice. That weekend, Amanda found out Quinn had talked to me. The friend group imploded. Quinn apologized publicly and exited. Harper and Brielle turned on Amanda for letting Quinn betray them. Multiple desperate texts came from Amanda. I didn't respond to any. Sunday morning, I was at the grocery store when I literally ran my card into Brielle's. We both stopped, recognizing each other instantly. "Well," she said, her voice dripping with disdain. "If it isn't the man who can't take a joke." I looked at her calmly. "Brielle, you know you ruined everything, right? Amanda's a mess because of you." Amanda's a mess because she chose to humiliate her husband and then refused to apologize for it. Brielle stepped closer, trying to intimidate me. "It was a roast. A joke. You're acting like we committed a crime. You spent an hour tearing someone down in their own home. What would you call that? Fun. Entertainment. Something you clearly know nothing about." I almost laughed. You know what I find entertaining? Watching your friend group fall apart because Quinn finally developed a conscience. Her face flushed. "Quinn is weak. Just like you." "No, Brielle. Quinn is honest. There's a difference." I started to push my cart past her, then stopped. "By the way, how long until Amanda wears out her welcome at your place? I give it another week before you're sick of her too." I left her standing there, speechless. In the car, my hands were shaking, but not from fear. From the rush of finally standing up to someone who'd made me feel small for years. Monday of the 4th week, Amanda showed up at my workplace, causing a scene in the parking lot. "You've poisoned everyone against me. I've told people the truth when asked." "That's not poison. Quinn had no right to tell you about the planning. So you admit you planned it." She realized her mistake. "That's not what I meant. I walked away while she was still talking. That afternoon, I finally packed up the last of Amanda's belongings from the house. In the back of her closet, I found a shoebox full of notes and cards from her friends. I almost didn't look through them, but curiosity got the better of me. Most were innocuous. Birthday cards, thank you notes. But near the bottom was a folded piece of paper in Brielle's handwriting. "Hey, you're too good for him. When are you going to wake up and realize you settled? You could have had anyone. Instead, you got Mr. Safe and Boring. Life is too short, babe. Think about what you really want." B. It was dated 2 years ago. There were others. Harper's handwriting. Does he ever surprise you? Or is it always the same predictable routine? Quinn's, more recent. I know you love him, but do you respect him? There's a difference. I sat on the bedroom floor, surrounded by Amanda's things, reading evidence that her friends had been poisoning our marriage for years. And Amanda had let them. No, more than that. She'd agreed with them. I put everything in boxes, sealed them up, and called a storage company. I wanted every trace of this life gone. Tuesday, Wesley called. "Amanda's attorney is trying to negotiate. She wants the house." Not happening. Her attorney is grasping at straws. "We have the financial records showing your inheritance paid the down payment." Wednesday, my mother hosted dinner for Rachel and me. Meeting the parents felt significant, but also right. "Thank you," Mom said to Rachel, "for reminding my son what he deserves." "He figured that out himself," Rachel replied. "I'm just glad I get to be part of what comes next." Thursday, Amanda somehow got into the house using the garage code I hadn't changed. She was waiting inside when I got home. "How did you get in?" "I still live here." "No, you don't. And you're trespassing." "I'm your wife." "Not for much longer." She broke down completely. "I'll change. I'll cut them off. I'll do anything." "It's too late. Even if you meant it, which you don't, it's too late." Friday was the final confrontation. Amanda refused to leave when I asked. Rachel arrived to pick me up for dinner and walked into the situation. Amanda turned on her. "This is your fault. You destroyed my marriage." Rachel stayed calm. "I met him after you destroyed it yourself." Her. Amanda looked at me. "You're choosing her over me?" "I'm choosing self-respect over humiliation. There's no contest. We have 6 years together. And in those 6 years, how many times did you make me feel small? How many jokes at my expense? How many times did your friends matter more than I did?" She couldn't answer. "That night wasn't the beginning," I continued. "It was just the first time I refused to pretend it was okay. I called the police for trespassing. Didn't press charges, just wanted her gone." The weekend after, Rachel helped me redecorate parts of the house. Make it mine again, or maybe mine for the first time. "How are you really feeling?" she asked. "Lighter. Like I've been carrying something heavy for years and finally put it down." Amanda sent one last series of texts. "I hope you're happy." "I'm getting there," I replied. "You'll regret this." The only thing I regret is not doing it sooner. When this falls apart with her, don't come crying to me. I won't need to. But thanks for the confirmation that you still don't get it. I blocked her number. 3 months later, the 90-day waiting period was complete. I sat in Wesley's office as the divorce was finalized. Settlement reached. Cameron keeps the house. Amanda gets half of other marital assets. Fair, but not generous. No spousal support since we were married under 10 years. Clean break. I walked down the courthouse steps where Rachel was waiting. How does it feel, she asked. Like the last piece of something old falling away. Ready for something new? I think I've been building something new for months now. I'm just ready to keep going. Walking to my car, I thought about everything I'd learned. Being a good sport isn't the same as being respected. Being understanding isn't the same as being valued. And being alone is infinitely better than being with someone who needs you small to feel big. That recording I made, I never gave it to my lawyer. Didn't need to, but I kept it anyway. Not as revenge or ammunition. As a reminder that the moment someone shows you who they really are, even if they're laughing while they do it, you should believe them. Amanda's still out there somewhere, probably telling people I'm the villain in her story, that I overreacted, that I couldn't take a joke. And you know what? I'm fine with that, because I'm not in her story anymore. I'm writing my own. Dear listeners, that's our ending. If it resonated, subscribe to support the channel. See you next time.